we don't talk about it enough, and too few people even mention it, but I do, and I will continue. It is important today to understand that the United States has the most unequal distribution of wealth and income since the 1920s, and the most unequal distribution of wealth and income of any major country on earth. Now, why is that important? Because it's important to know that before you cut Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and education, and the ability of working-class kids to go to college, you got to know the condition, how people are doing today. And the middle class today is shrinking. Poverty is increasing. And when you cut food stamps and when you cut Medicaid, you're going to hurt a whole lot of people, in some cases very tragically. Just last week, a member of my staff went to Southwest Virginia, and she spent a day at a program by which thousands of people in that area were lining up to get dental care and health care because they didn't have any health insurance. 45,000 Americans are going to die this year because they don't have health insurance, can't get to a doctor on time, and there are people out there who say, let's cut Medicaid. People all over this country can't find a dentist. Kids are suffering through dental decay. Let's cut Medicaid. Well, I don't think so. If we look at what's going on in the country, middle class is shrinking, people are hurting, but people on top are doing phenomenally well. Madam President, because very few people talk about it, I'm going to talk about it. In the last study that we have seen in terms of income distribution in this country, income distribution, and that is what happened between 2009 and 2010, 93% of all new income created over that year went to the top 1%. 93% of all new income in that year went to the top 1%. The bottom 99% had the privilege of sharing the remaining 7%. And yet, when we ask the people on top to maybe pay a little bit more in taxes, oh, my goodness, their lobbyists are all over Capitol Hill saying, oh, we can't afford it. We're down to our last $50 billion. We just can't afford another nickel in taxes. And, in fact, we need that money now because of Citizens United. We can pump that money into political campaigns. One family worth $50 billion is going to put $400 million into the campaign. Another guy worth $20 billion can't pay more in taxes, but he does have hundreds of millions to pour into political campaigns. Madam President, in terms of distribution of wealth, which is a different category, of course, than distribution of income, we have an incredible situation, and I hope people understand what is going on in this country, where one family, the Walton family of Walmart, now owns more wealth at $89 billion than the bottom 40% of the American people. One family owns more wealth than the bottom 40%. And you know what some folks want to do here? They want to give, in turn, they want to repeal the entire estate tax and give that family a very substantial tax break. Because owning $89 billion is obviously not enough. They are struggling. We got to give them a tax break while we cut Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. Now, if that makes any sense to the American people, I would be very surprised, and it does not make sense to the American people. Madam President, according to a February 2011 Washington Post poll, while more than 70% of Americans opposed cutting Social Security and Medicare, 81% supported a surtax on millionaires to reduce the deficit. Now, my guess is if you go to New Hampshire, you go to Maine, you go to any other state in America, and you say to people, we have a deficit problem, the choice is between cutting Social Security or asking millionaires and billionaires to pay more in taxes. There is, in my view, no state in America, no state in this country, no matter how red it may be, where people will say, you cut Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid, but don't raise taxes on millionaires and billionaires. I don't believe that that is true any place in America. Today, Madam President, the top 1% own 40% of the wealth of our nation, while the bottom 60% own less than 2%. Top 1% owns 40%, bottom 60% owns less than 2%, and I have members of this Senate coming down saying we're going to punish the bottom 60% and we're going to give more to the people on top. Madam President, there was a study that recently came out that talks about the ability of billionaires and corporations to use tax havens. Now, what we know, and I'm a member of the Budget Committee, is that millionaires and billionaires and corporations in this country are avoiding paying about $100 billion every single year by using tax havens in the Cayman Islands, in Bermuda, Panama, and other countries. Maybe, just maybe, before you cut Social Security and Medicare, you might want to pass legislation to make those people start paying their fair share of taxes and do away with those tax havens. So, Madam President, let me just conclude by saying we are in a pivotal moment in American history. If we as a nation do not get our act together, in my view, we will move even more rapidly in the direction of an oligarchy, where you will have a few people on the top with incredible wealth, controlling not only our economy, but also, through Citizens United, the political life of this country. And we're seeing that playing out right here on the floor of the Senate, with people who are turning their backs on working families and the middle class, and at a time when the wealthiest people are doing phenomenally well, fighting for more tax breaks for people who absolutely don't need them. Now, I hope the American people pay rapt attention to this debate, and I hope the American people get involved in this debate, because if they do not, mark my words, within 4 months, a handful of people supported by corporate America and the big money interests are going to bring down to this floor a deficit reduction proposal which will cut Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and give more tax breaks to the wealthiest people in this country. It will have virtually all Republican support. It will have some Democratic support. And if we don't aggressively oppose that approach, that is exactly what will happen. With that, Madam President, I would yield the floor.
Madam President.
Majority Leader.